What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy Next Gen 720, and I am back with another video. And wasn't even the video I planned to do, but hold on. If you haven't checked out this Monday, we did actually BGST Monday. A lot of you guys didn't know we did BGST Monday. Uh, Check it out. Great show. We even had Showstopper on board with us. Funny show as usual. And also, too, you guys have to check out the Xbox versus Pony live debate. It was Dealer Gaming going head up with Jabari. Guys, if you're some Xbox guys, some Pony guys, you want to come on and debate, I'm like, no, I'm just like I said, I have it how I'm doing now. I'm doing twos, two on one side, 20 side, or I'm gonna do a head up. So don't matter if you don't have to have a channel, small channel, big channel, just get at me. That's what I'm gonna be doing. It's funny, it's like they're fun. But anyway, check that out. Dealer Gaming and Jabari went head up. Funny fucking show. Funny as hell. But anyway, on to today's video. And this wasn't the video that I was planning to do. I wanted to hop on this whole Washington Post thing. I've been trying to do this video for the last 2 days and haven't had the chance to. But because the reason I'm going to do this right now, this is something that we talked about probably for the last 2 or 3 BGSTs, and Crap and Mooch keep saying that developers are not on board with this. Like I said, but what's told to me, again, from a very, very valuable source. Same person that told me about the DirectX 12 coming to the Xbox One, more or less, is the same person who told me that both Microsoft and Sony, well, I'm lying. He said word around the campfire that both Microsoft and Sony was releasing new hardware. Listen, so, and he was told to me, he said that when Microsoft and Sony come up with new hardware, they just don't spring it on developers. They go to third parties, say, hey, this is what we're working on. Yada yada. What can you guys do with this now? I don't know if Nintendo, Nintendo normally doesn't do that. They're very quiet about their hardware. Maybe they may have changed that this generation. I don't know, but that was one of the issues that Bethesda had with Nintendo, and that's why you're seeing Bethesda's games on Nintendo's platform. Because it was like Nintendo just say, "Hey, this is what we got. What you can do with it," and they don't even converse with third parties. But anyway, so this was the mindset of Mooch and Crap. I don't know about Mullis Tim, but I told those guys like this wasn't the case. But anyway, you have a developer saying here, the developer so the King of Wushu developer said, according to King Wushu developer, there will be no downsides for the market if PlayStation 4.5 and Xbox 1.5 were introduced, only benefits. Like I've been telling these guys. But listen, that's not only it though, but hold on. Like I tell you guys, with there's smoke, there's fire. It says, brother, I expect early this year, lots of rumors started flying around about the release of more powerful PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. This was rather shocking since it's highly unusual in the gaming industry that there are a few concepts these days that but consoles being fixed systems for 5 to 7 years, it is what it is. That's been the case since forever, since I've been gaming on the NES, more or less. The Genesis came out with some, Sega, I'm sorry, came out with a bunch of iterations, but they really didn't win. But when Nintendo did it, when Sega did it, they were fragmented. The community had to buy specific games to take advantage of their said hardware. Microsoft and Sony are not doing it. Every game is going to be forward and backwards compatible. As I told you guys before, when Phil came out and said this, sit down, daddy's on my video. Let me close on. But anyway, like I said, when there's smoke, there's fire. And that's what I tell you, these guys keep talking about this slim shit. Like, no, the slim does nothing. Corey, this is from Phil Spencer here. It said, "You're actually see us come up with new hardware capabilities during a generation, allowing the same games to run backwards and forwards compatible because we have a Universal Windows application running on the top of the Universal Windows platform that allows us to focus more and more on the hardware innovation without invalidating the games that run on that said platform." You know what I mean? He said, during a console generation, you're going to see us come out, with new hardware capabilities. This is from Phil. This was when he first came out and said that. You know what I mean? But anyway, this developer here, he's saying that's what, like I said, these people still thinking a slim. You're gonna put out a slim when your competition is putting out a console has 4 teraflops plus. That does nothing. I don't know why people keep thinking that Microsoft is so far behind the curve. Just because they haven't had any leaks as far as their hardware. Like, come on, like this is a business, it's a competition. If you're not, prime example, I watch of Nintendo. he's well, God bless the dead. He said one of the Nintendo's weak points is they don't do well at competing. That's why the install base since the NES and to the Super NES has been a constant decline from the NES to the Super NES to the Nintendo 64 to the GameCube, and then they came out with the Wii, but that appealed to non-gamers. And then with the Wii U, and I don't know what the Nintendo NX is going to do because they don't compete. So all you guys thinking that they're coming like this slim, like where do you even get this from? Like this is because this is like wishful thinking. If their competition is coming out with a more powerful console that's both backwards and forwards compatible, but Microsoft putting the same components in a smaller box, they're nothing. They're already getting their ass kicked by the vanilla PS4. Like I don't know why I gotta keep telling you guys this. Like it just like at the end of the day, like I don't know why you think that Microsoft is that far. Microsoft next console may come up before Sony's. Like we don't know, but anyway, this developer said here that the hardware. He said the importance of the hardware will always be helpful to fulfill games development ideas, enrich the player's gaming experience, as well as improve some special effects in the game. What's more, enhance the hardware will enable us as a developer to apply newer technologies in game based on what we've heard about these new consoles so far. The community wouldn't be split by the release of these new consoles, since the games will be required to run on the first generation console as well as the newest generation consoles. So they're not even splitting the install base because we all get to enjoy the same game. But just some games are going to look better. Well, not just some. Every game that's releasing from October on, according to the email that I've seen, the documents that I've seen, that if you want your game to pass certifications from Sony, it has to take advantage of the system's hardware. And and like I said, if you don't have EA complaining, if you don't have Activision complaining, if you don't have Rockstar or Take Two complaining, give me somebody else. Who else? Who else? Give me another big third party. Warner Brothers. NetherRealms. If those guys are not complaining, there's not an issue. They're not, and they still make. They're all. First of all these platforms console, they're x86. First of all, they're not developing really for the PS3 and the 360 no more. So it's not like they're developing for three games for. I'm sorry, three platforms for Sony, and three platforms for Microsoft. The PS3 and 360 gone. So now you're gonna have the vanilla PS4, the vanilla Xbox One. You're gonna have the PS4 Neo and the Xbox One second generation. Still, and they're both still again x86. But like I said, according to what I read, if you want your game to pass certification on Sony's platform, on their hardware, that you have to take advantage of the PlayStation 4's Neo specs. And in not just higher resolution, they were saying, also a higher graphic fidelity. Like this is something that I read. This is not rumor. This is something nice that I read with my own eyes from a very, very valuable source. Then I read another. Then there was some more documents that me and Kraft both seen together from another developer that we know. You know, um, like I said today. But the first papers that I said were from a really, really big someone within the what they say with their finger on the pulse. That's right there. You know, like at the end of the day, But like I said, this is the same person that told me about the DirectX 12. If been rocking, I hate to keep saying because some of you guys are new to my channel, but if you've been rocking out with me for a while, you know how I was talking about DirectX 12 coming to the Xbox One 3 months before GDC 2014. Before we hear anything about DirectX 12, everybody and their mama was fucking trying to clown me. You know, what you can't go back and change the GPU and the hardware and I was like, no, it's going to be software. Whatever it's soft. But everybody and mama had jokes about it. And Icy Rhythm, Richard, you take care to say, you Xbox One from DX12 is not going to do shit for the Xbox One. It's not. It was just a whole bunch of shit. You know what I mean? But like I said, it is what it is. Till I digress. But I am telling you guys, for those of you that are still in disbelief, I don't know for whatever reason, you know, if let me say this like this, there's no downside to this. There's no bad part. There's nothing. There's nothing wrong about this. If you want to have the best version looking at the game, then guess what? You go out there and get you a Neo. You go out there and get you an Xbox One second generation. That's all. If graphics and all that stuff is not a big deal to you, fine. You can still sit and play and enjoy what you've been, playing. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? So there's no doubt. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with options. Some of you guys are acting like, well, I'm just gonna go. Like, you don't have to buy a new console. I can see they say, you know what? I understand that this generation's only been going on for 3 years, but I can say, you know what? If they come up with a new system, you say, you know what? The Neo, you're gonna have to buy games developed especially from the ground up for this Neo. You know what I mean? And I can see some people, balling up their face. Cool, Then I can say, it's kind of a dick move. If you may have gotten your console 2, 3 months ago, I can see why you may feel slighted. You know what I mean? But like I said, I've been here since 2013, and I like graphics. So as soon as they announce these bad boys, and so you can go out and reserve them, I'm going straight down to GameStop or Best Buy and reserve my Neo or reserve my Xbox. You know, my and like I said, my Xbox and my my PlayStation 4 Neo. I'm there. I like gadgets. I like new tech. Like I said, plus two, I'm a YouTube content creator. You know what I mean? I'm not one to be talking like some of these channels like Black Bond and weirdo ass niggas talking about consoles. Don't even own a console. 99% of their content is about consoles and they game one PCs. I'm not one of them dudes, man. I'm not talking about something that I didn't, try, whatever the case. You corporate cocksuckers. I ain't like them dudes, man. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. But we're gonna have fun at the end of the day. Like I said, we just got to not we console gamers have to get out of the mindset that we're gonna buy some hardware and it's gonna be 7 years. And no, I tell you, look how much, like I said, technology is going forward. Uh, I should say this again. NVIDIA just came out and announced these two cards, the GTX 1070 and the 1080. The 1070 for $369, whatever the case, is more powerful than the Titan X. Let me see what the going price for the Titan X is right now. Let me see the going price. Hold on. How much is a Titan X? Hold on. GTX Titan X. That car right now is $1,200. It's $1,300. Miles to say $1,300 for a Titan X. And the video just showed the car off last week for $379. That's more powerful than a $1,000 car. That's when you guys, when I did the rumor that Microsoft was supposed to come up with a console that's supposed to be 10 teraflops plus, or it's supposed to be more powerful than. No way, a 10. No, you can't. That's more powerful than Titan. Like, you don't know what the hell they're working on. You know what I mean? You keep talking about the price, and again, Microsoft and Sony, they don't pay what we pay. You know what I mean? They buy this shit in bulk. That's when you guys make these dumb. I didn't make the rumor up. I'm just going by what I report. You guys saying, like I said, when there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I mean? But anyway, this is your boy Next Gen 720, and like I all told you guys time and time again, technology is always moving forward. Now you got developers saying there's not going to be no downside. Like I told those guys Sunday on BGST, like Mooch was saying, that when you're going to get the Neo, there's no games. No. What do you think? They're going to have this powerful console and not take advantage of their hardware? Like, game developers, they are artists. They want to push the envelope, to see what they can come up. They and constantly challenge themselves. You know what I mean? And this was told to me by the developer. You know what I mean? That just like you think that they're not gonna take advantage of the hardware. That's the craziest shit in the world. They're just gonna have all this power. They're just gonna be sitting there. And like I said, that's just like the fanboy shit. You know what I mean? I guess they make it so it's only for the VR. Like, come on, it's for everything. Microsoft's not coming out with any VR shit, and they're coming out with a more powerful console. This is your boy Next Gen 720. I'm out of here. Bang bang.